If you have been thinking about moving to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and have heard a little bit about Arlington, Texas, well, hey, in this video, I'm gonna share with you what I think are the pros and cons of living in Arlington, Texas. Hi, I'm Dana Pollard, and I have lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex since I was 4 years old, and I've been selling real estate as a realtor for over 10 years. And before that, I sold new homes, worked in property management, had my own investment properties. So anyways, hey, if you are thinking about moving to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, call me, message me in the email below. I'm so happy to help. So let's talk about the pros and cons of living in Arlington, Texas, as well as a few interesting things, or things that I think are interesting about living in Arlington, Texas. All right, first off, there are 7 pros. I'm sure there are many more. These are just the pros that I think of when living in Arlington, Texas, off the top of my head. The first and number 1 pro is it is centrally located between Dallas and Fort Worth. And so if your commute is in Dallas and your spouse is in Fort Worth, it's a great central location. The second pro to living in Arlington, Texas is there are so many activities to do. There's a lot of entertainment options. You have Six Flags Over Texas, Hurricane Harbor. There's outdoor things to do, indoor movies. It's just packed with entertainment in Arlington, Texas. And number 3 on that note, if you are a sports fan, you have the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, Texas Ranger Stadium. It's a short commute to go to downtown Dallas if you love basketball. I love watching the Mavericks play. It's probably my favorite sport to watch is basketball. If you're a sports fan, I'm telling you, Arlington is the place to be. Right after entertainment, number 4 is restaurants. I mean, there's a plethora of restaurants, really good places to eat in Arlington. So if you are a foodie like me, you're gonna have many, many choices. The 5th pro to living in Arlington, Texas is, if you're looking at the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there are some areas of Arlington that have beautiful trees and beautiful hills. I mean, it's not like super hilly, it's not like mountains or anything, but there are some beautiful places like in the northern part of Arlington that are just beautiful. Many areas in, Dallas-Fort Worth are flat, and so there are some really nice areas in Arlington. Number 6, and this is important to many people, is Arlington is close to many hospitals. So you have hospitals which are in Arlington, but then you also have a short commute or a quick drive if you need a hospital in Dallas, or maybe you work at a hospital. Same with Fort Worth. It's a good central location. And last but not least, the 7th pro to living in Arlington is the property tax rate is pretty low considering, okay? So it's 2.59%, and you can get a 20% tax homestead exemption if you live in the property. And the reason I say it's good is because in general in the state of Texas, we have high taxes, property taxes. And so 2.59 is not too bad. It's not the lowest, but it's not the highest either. Some of the high ones are in the new subdivisions in some of the suburb cities. And so some of those can get up to like 3.1%. So Arlington's pretty reasonable. Keep in mind when we talk about property taxes that we do not have state tax here, state income tax here in Texas. And so I recently met with a buyer, and they said they're actually saving money by not paying state tax and paying property tax here. So I know it depends on your income bracket. And for other people, yes, if you have a lower income, maybe those property taxes are going to be a little higher. But at the end of the day, I don't want to say it's a wash, but come on, guys. Help me out here. Yes, we have high property taxes, but we don't have income state tax. All right, let's talk about the cons of Arlington, Texas. One thing that people don't like and why many people choose not to move to Arlington is the school district is not as good. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. And so, like, they're in the, out of 900 schools, they're in the 500s, if that, you know, as far as test scores. Now listen, if you love Arlington, we can get you in schools that are great. There are some 4-star schools. So it's not that you can't get a home in Arlington, it's just overall, if that's a big deciding factor, then, you know, just other school districts may be rated higher. And if you do want to have like a 4-star school and you want to move to Arlington, we can just set your search up accordingly, okay? All right, another con, the second con that I think of living in Arlington is there's a lot of traffic, not like necessarily bumper to bumper traffic, but especially in the shopping, the holiday season, I mean, there's just people everywhere. It's a busy city because it's centrally located. People are driving everywhere. So some of the side streets get busy. So that, for me, that's a con. Now, don't get me wrong, there's traffic everywhere you go. And again, it's not necessarily bumper to bumper, but you're gonna find that it's a busy city in general. If you want a slower pace, then you might want to choose another suburb. Now, last but not least, I want to talk about what's interesting. But hey, right before we do that, if you like these videos and want to watch more, subscribe to my channel, hit the little bell for notifications, and like this video, it helps me out. And comment before your thoughts on Arlington. All right, so what I think is interesting about Arlington, Texas is the diversity. And I'm not just talking about like the diversity in people, which there is diversity, which I think is great, but I'm talking about the homes and the development of Arlington, Texas. And so when I say that, like you'll be driving through Arlington, Texas and just, it's a hodgepodge, meaning you can have a $100,000 neighborhood and a $600,000 neighborhood right across the street from each other. You're gonna have condos, older condos, newer condos, older homes, newer homes, commercial business. It's just a hodgepodge of all these homes. And I think it's because Arlington was developed in the 70s and 80s. There's a lot of homes from the 70s and 80s, and so it's a little different than I would say North Dallas, where many things are much newer and developed really nicely. Arlington is very diverse in the development, okay? So I do find that that's interesting. Some people are gonna love that and some people are not gonna love it. So that's just interesting to me. Another thing I find interesting is it really is about the homes. Like, it's interesting that you can get a $100,000 condo and a $2.9 million home in the city of Arlington. So many of the surrounding cities, like there are not many condos in Fort Worth. There are in Dallas. But it's interesting that you can get, I mean, I've even found a $65,000 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo. It's like under 500 square feet, but you can get like a condo for $65,000 and then you can also buy a mansion. So I find that interesting. Overall, when we are talking about the housing in Arlington, Texas, you can get a lower price point in Arlington, Texas. Do plan on a little bit more for your electric bills because they're older homes. Typically, they run a little higher in electricity. But if cost of living is a big deal and location, Arlington's a great place to land. Hey, if you are thinking about moving to the Dallas-Fort Worth or Arlington area, hey, call me, message me, and you can also click the link below for the Dream Home Questionnaire, whether you're a month out or a year out, but it can at least start the process of getting you information on this, Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in moving to Texas, click on one of these videos.